I figured out what the Patriots and Q mean when they say we've already won and we're watching a show. This is also why they are so afraid of Q. They have no idea. Premise: healing happens this way: thought, action, healing. Think of Jesus healing the hand in synagogue. Jesus asked the man to stretch out his hand. In order to stretch out his hand, the man must first think first. His hand doesn't move on its own. It can't. And this is supported by science. A thought must occur first. And the only reason the thought would occur is because faith existed before the thought, as a constant part of the thinker's reality. Only if the man knew his hand would be healed would he believe that his hand would be healed enough to actually stretch his hand forward, which required the transmitting of information over the nervous system from his brain to his muscles to make the hand move. Thought, action, based on faith, resulted in instantaneous healing. In the grand scheme of things, healing a hand in reward for acting on faith is relatively small, so the healing is fast, instantaneous in this example. So everyone saw it happen as it happened. We didn't read that they sat around for weeks, months, years, waiting for the hand to straighten because they didn't need to. It was small enough to heal instantly. But healing the whole world? That takes longer. It's bigger than a hand. Right? So while relying on faith that their prayers just would be heard and responded to by God, a bunch of people called on God for help. In this case, a lot of people did and have sincerely for a long time. I have asked myself. I'm asking again right now. God, I love you and believe. We need your healing power to rid this planet of those dark forces intent on destroying our ability to have a relationship with you. They want to cut us off from you. We love you. We don't want a divorce. They do, from you. They just forgot about the prenup. People from all over the globe have made the same prayer, and they wake up every morning and go to bed each night praying the same, all races and religion, and regardless of any other 3D-ism. The healing happened instantly from the perspective of God in the higher dimensions, but we are in a much lower dimension, and the transmission of light from the healing hasn't reached us yet. So to us, it seems like nothing is happening, but it has already happened. We just haven't caught up in time yet. Our scientists tell us that the light we see in the star night is light from millions, if not billions of years ago, because the light was emitted, but it had to travel to us. So what we're seeing is not the now on that star, but it is 34 to 37 years ago on, say, Arcturus. I believe it is that many light years away. So we prayed, God heard us and healed the planet instantly. But the healing was so profound and the new look is going to be so different that the loading of the, quote, new video file, or say film reel, is taking a long time. Like we sometimes get frustrated when a book on tape takes a while to download. So to God, it's done. But our consciousness is low. So catching up to the change is like waiting for the light from a new star to appear. The problem is, until the light gets to us, it seems like nothing is happening. Once the light from the star gets to us, we see it. But before it appeared, it looked like blackness. It looked only dark. Once the light is here, wham, it's here. The fact that I'm even thinking this means I'm right. Well, it means God explained it to me in a way that makes sense. Thought precedes the action of creation. If I hadn't thought it, it couldn't be true. Because I believe this, I'm right. I think, therefore I am. We each must choose to maintain the faith that God wins, and then you will see the change. It's when you lose faith that you stop reflecting the light. If you don't have faith that God wins, then you don't get to participate when he does win. You can't not have faith, then obtain the benefits of having faith once you see that those with faith were right. That wouldn't be fair. God set the rules. He told us you must believe to benefit. So the corollary is you don't believe, then you don't benefit. We, in most cases, will forgive a person who doesn't believe us in a similar situation. I can't believe you sold that house. Why? I knew I would sell it. I just didn't know when. Which means that to everyone, it looked like nothing was happening. But to the one who believed, they knew they were one day closer to the sale. So they lived their life the way they wanted and remained excited, not scared. They continue to live their life because they know what's coming. That is knowing the plan. We already got a pass with forgive them for they know not what they do. We don't get to repeat the same patterns and not learn from them and create the change necessary but still get rewarded. There are no prizes for everyone. That's the culture they wanted to create because they thought it would be harder for someone like me to write this and say these things. Political correctness and all. Norms. Can't offend. Like a lot of us right now, we know something is off, but couldn't quite define it till now. The new image file, or whatever metaphor works for you, is, quote, loading. Because the healing was instantaneous on another dimension, we just haven't caught up to the light from the event yet in that dimension. We don't know when we will, but we know it's coming because we think about it, which means it's real. Because you can't think about something without it being real. Otherwise, you wouldn't think about it. Like the hand healing. Must think first before nerves can send signal to muscles to move. Only reason signal would be sent is if the thinker believed that so doing would result in healing. Otherwise, wouldn't think to move hand, and so hand wouldn't heal. Hand is smaller than world, so instantaneous healing. Didn't take long to reload the picture file of a new hand. Less data, faster transition time. To humans, instant. Again, healing Earth, big, lots of data, new data file, taking time from our perspective only to load that new data file. We know it's coming because we think about it, dream about it, wish for it. If we didn't think about it, it wouldn't be real. So what we're watching is a movie of sorts. It's the last part of the last reel of this reality while the new reality is loading. We must keep believing God has already won, even though here to us, we just haven't caught up in time. We must continue to believe we see the new reality. If you don't believe in it, you don't get to participate. Those aren't my rules, but they are God's rules. He told us in the Bible, you can change your thinking and belief at any time, and He wants you to, but He won't make you believe. Just like you can't make your non-realtor friend know that you will sell this house. You just don't know when. But when you do, when we, quote, catch up to the light, it won't be we that are surprised, but our friends, our family, our acquaintances who didn't believe. Matthew 29:39-41 from the King James Version Bible. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Those who don't believe don't get to participate. Matthew 24:44-51, King James Version of the Bible. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. And if that evil servant shall say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, The Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And because we know God wins, that proves that he does. And the maintenance of your physical existence right now is up to you. You, me, we all individually get to decide here. No one can be made to do anything. Faith can't be forced. As much as I want everyone to get, develop, and have a relationship with God and really understand by remembering the truth, good always wins, always has, always will. Doing anything other than believing you will gain the kingdom of heaven ensures you will not participate in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to rely on money here? Whose system? The private Western Central Bank who created the system we use and who are now trying to crash that system to replace it with a new one that controls everything because they can, because we've let them, because we got lazy. We allowed ourselves to be lulled into, what did Jimmy Carter call it? Malaise. Isn't it something that coming off the gold standard caused higher interest rates, inflation? They're coming here, now, soon, with all the printing of cash happening simultaneously all over the world. Look it up if you don't believe me. Or their new digital currency tracks everything. And if they don't like what you believe, they can literally shut you off. Or if not off, then left to a subsistence living as punishment for creating chaos in the system. But they want to crash the current system and replace it with a new one. Problem: why would we need to? No wars yet. Disease? They're trying, but there's too much out there. And the flip-flopping almost daily when they knew back in 2005 that HCQ was a therapeutic cure with the prophylactic future effect. No vaccines were ever needed. They knew back in 2005. At least that's what the interwebs say. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, I don't think I'm the only one who thinks it, which means it's real. So Bitcoin then? Compared to the current dollar, yes, it is going and getting higher daily. And of course, there are the corrections, which are really just the result of the, quote, digital bombs lobbed back and forth. Information here, information there, stock prices climb, stock prices fall. True value of gold capped by contracts. Same with silver and all precious metals. But yes, compared to today's fiat dollar, they should and will go higher. But they will continue to exert control, because if they don't, then they don't control the crash, which means they don't control the recovery, which means they lose. And they have been far too rich for far too long to ever let that happen. But they lost. They couldn't believe it, and they still don't, and will never understand, because they don't understand the power of we and God working together. I mean, he did all the work, don't get me wrong. But we do have power to believe, and believing makes it true. Because we grew lazy and self-indulgent and stopped praising God and loving God. A relationship requires love, trust, and respect. If we don't love God, then we'll never trust and respect God. They know that. They've done everything in their power to perpetuate their power. They truly do not care about us, about we the people. We are replaceable. Sounds about right, with half of South and Central America kicking in the door that we're already holding open for them, and or robots. They've already lost, and they know it. So they're trying to make you scared, because if you're scared, you don't have faith, trust, etc. No relationship with God. Our only power comes from God. If we willingly give up that power as a result of their manipulation, then we have no power, and they know that. That's why the fear. That's why the speed. They need us afraid, because when we're afraid, they can manipulate us. And then they control the crash, and then they control the recovery, and that is hell on earth. Knowing what could have been is the hell on earth. If we don't throw off their yoke and just go about living our lives without allowing them to manipulate us, then they can't manipulate us, and God, good, wins. But they want us to believe what they are showing us. What they are creating is real by being awful, like a good television program. And it is horribly bad, but it's of their making. And they have the audacity to blame us? What have we done? And I'm talking about citizens of the world, not just the United States. What have we done that we have to fight your wars? You make us put our parents on the front line, and if they are police, they have to do what they're told from upstairs, even if they don't personally want to wear a mask, because they know it's ridiculous, because they know it doesn't work as a mask against COVID, but it does work as a mask for humanity, a way to cover us up, cover themselves up. There are so few, if any, live events anymore. They're all on television, the internet, Zoom, in a small box on a small screen, not liable to manipulation at all. Many are not believable as accurate representations of live events. They're not even believable anymore as live events. Yes, they're on TV. But have you seen what can be done with holograms these days? It's insane. Or CGI. You would be amazed at how much and how often CGI is used. You literally can't trust your eyes. How can you? If you can't trust your eyes, can you really trust any of your senses? If you can't trust that you're watching reality, then why keep watching even for a minute longer? So then what can you trust? Why have you read this far? Why do you trust what I'm saying? I wouldn't if I was you. But I'd read it all, see if it made sense. So I say all of that to say this: there's still time to establish a relationship with God through understanding who we really are. That's the awakening that's happening, that they can't stop. People are getting tuned in at a higher and higher frequency, and they are understanding what's coming, just not when, but soon. The Spirit will pour out on people in the end. Do you honestly think I, T. Reed Newland, was smart enough to put this together? Come on, man. Yes, I'm typing, and yes, it feels like I'm the one coming up with the wording, sentence structure, etc. But it's not me here in the 3D dimension. It might be me in 5D, or it could be another, maybe just high 4D, I don't know. That's the thing about time. First, what we know as time is simply a human construct based on the rotation of a planet around a sun. When you leave Earth, you stop using our solar system to keep time. There is no time because you're moving all over the place and it's different. I'm not going to sit here and say what it is exactly because I don't know. I don't know the future, the details, the whens, a house, that kind of thing. I just know the healing has happened at a much higher dimension and the change is coming. Remember, the moment of change is mentioned in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 51 to 54. Behold, I show you a mystery. Again, King James Version. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Not my rules, but his. And that means that right now is a movie playing until this last reel ends, not knowing how much film is left before it clacks at the end. And the new earth / heaven is arrived. When you expect it, you won't be surprised by what's going on. You'll just know you were right. But it's going to be hard to hold on to that faith, but only because of they, if we allow them. Some could find what I'm saying offensive. Some could say it's dangerous. Others, that you get the idea. And some will say I should be, quote, not allowed to post this kind of post because it gets people thinking. And creation of anything requires thought first. And when combined with faith and action, result It happens. The healing happened. We just haven't caught up to it. In the meantime, they're going to try to scare us as much as possible and actually see how far they can get, even passing some of these laws just to see how scared they can get us. But they know it's over. So instead of them helping to save your soul by telling you the truth and letting us know they know we know, they keep trying. Because there are a lot of people who don't believe. And sadly, probably a large portion of those wouldn't believe even with more than enough circumstantial evidence, if not outright actual evidence. But evidence or no, because we think it is true. There is a small cabal. They are much smaller than we. They know it, and we should know it, but not all of us believe it. Because there are large numbers that will always believe their lies, no matter how outrageous at this point. And they know this, and they are afraid, but they want us to be afraid too. Because if we're afraid, we won't be free thinkers. It's much harder to. But that's how they use war, pandemics even, to control us. And we let them, because even when we know it's fake, we keep following the rules, but it doesn't matter. So no digital currency. And why couldn't someone just turn off the Bitcoin servers? Data mining for value, I wish I understood it, but it doesn't matter because it won't help either. How can gold, silver, Bitcoin currency help against light? It can't. And if you're trying to make a buck on the fluctuations of stocks, gold, silver, Bitcoin, or any other form of money, can you say you really trust God? Because if you trust God completely, then you know what's coming and you know that the form of currency isn't important and won't help and can't be used to, quote, buy faith. Again, how can anything physical stop something made of light? It can't, which is another confirmation for the validity of what I'm saying. And if you thought about it, then it's real and you can't wish it away, but you can embrace it. Just stop fighting for or with whatever turmoil seems to be controlling you. Just let it go and start a new relationship with God through Jesus and understanding Him. And no, this is not an endorsement of any church, any religion. We must separate spiritual understanding from the idea of religion and not continue to let them stoke and provoke different factions to cause chaos and confusion and perpetual fear. It's how they got so far. I say all of this as a latecomer. In fact, I don't believe I will fully live up to the very high standards required, which means I don't expect to participate in this new earth. One of the first messages I got was from Habakkuk, talking about how his soul is not upright, but through his faith many are saved. Search for this on YouTube. God, space, and then put a space in the word Jesus, and then a space in the word holy, and a space in the word ghost, and a space in the letters N as in Nancy, O, T as in Tom, Q. Do a search for that on YouTube. Watch it. You'll have to pause on each page to be able to read everything. From start to finish, it's only 7 minutes and 37 seconds. But to read it with an open mind and to think, it can take days. To do the actual research, it's fascinating, and I hope everyone takes the opportunity to look for themselves. I don't care if you start to research and end up in a relationship with God. I don't care if you don't need to research because you already know. Please know that this is weird for me, very, but I'm still doing it. It might be that no one reads this, or that people read it but don't do anything, or read and instead of doing something positive for themselves, they feel the need to protect others, and so they take this down or limit its distribution. If you believe it should be repressed, or you encourage or facilitate the continued disbursement of their story, knowing it to be false, then you are as guilty as they. You are preying on us through fear, and we're done with you. We don't need you. You need us. I choose to believe what I've discerned to be true, which is consistent with the ideas of almost every religion for recorded history, and even before known religions, the signs that have been left. We need to wake up to what is real. We need to remember who we really are, children of God. All of us, we. And because God created the universe and beyond, literally everything, then all beings that we see or don't see or can't see yet, they are children of God too. They just might look a little different. Some will look more like we, but not all. It's not a matter of if this is going to happen. It's a matter of when. I encourage you all, do your own research, find an answer. You didn't know you were looking for an answer, and you may not have been, and you may not want to now. That's fine. That is free will. But when the light gets here and you see what it will be like, just remember, I honestly tried my best with my mission. Unfortunately, because I know there are some of you that may not believe me, it means it's true. There are people who don't believe me, which means they have already made a decision that I'm crazy or something else that is bad enough to get rid of. And for them especially, I am sorry I failed you. That's how I feel anyway. It could be that me saying this will cause you to think that you want to have a relationship because now you don't want to miss out. Don't worry, you can still change your mind no matter what I think. Because I don't think for you. I make you think, or that is my goal. But I remember Habakkuk, so we'll see. That's the thing. Only God knows. If I have permission to be there, then nothing I say or do can stop it. Except blaspheming against the Holy Ghost. Don't ever do that. If I don't have permission to be there, then nothing I say or do will allow me to be there. But that doesn't mean you can't be there. It's not that I don't believe what I just said. I guess it's like Jesus said, the spirit is ready, but the body is troubled. Actually, back in December, I said that both my spirit and body were willing. So there's that. Go to BibleGateway.com and start reading while they allow you to. They'll shut it off, or worse, they'll go in and change words and phrases, all with the intent and purpose of outlawing the Bible. It's easy to shut the Bible off the internet. Then they'll get you to burn them, confiscate them, get rid of the printed version, but they lose. And you have to continue believing no matter what. Just keep living your life, loving everyone, and knowing that you can and will create a relationship quickly when you are sincere. Trust, sincerity, love, sincerity, respect, sincerity. I love you, God, your Son Jesus, the Holy Ghost, my fellow planet mates, and all those from all dimensions. We are all God's children.